Hello everyone and welcome to our guide on the basics of RDMS and how the system here within the internal rights framework of the game can be used to enable you to better share rights between characters for ships, buildings, how to use things like this, the Surrogate VR pod, or for instance how to use things like this. A dispenser that can be used to, well, I'm running this for donations, but it can be used to sell anything to any player in the game. We're going to start our guide by talking through how the system works, and then we'll go through some of the applications like a dispenser or a surrogate pod once we know the system. Let us go over to my warp shuttle here that I'm currently in the process of designing. Suppose I wanted to, say, ask a friend of mine to come and replace the container here, or the fuel tanks here through these intakes. I currently don't have any skills to reduce the weight of the contents of a fuel tank or a container, but given that this is a warp shuttle, those are incredibly useful things to have, and I don't want to sit around and wait, and suppose they were standing right next to me, and I could right-click, go down to construct and share the construct with them. They would have to, say, relog for those to be updated. It's not a perfect system using the share construct. But if I use the RDMS system, it works perfectly, I found at least, every time. Let's talk about how I would want to do that then. First of all, I would hit F7 to bring up the rights manager. The first thing to note is that every entity for whom you can set rights has a separate rights tab here. So this is my character. This is the in-game organization that my viewers and I are running. This is the Interlake Railway that Longboy, Kermit and others are developing around the Lakes of Enlightenment here. And this is my org that I use to share assets between my separate accounts. I know that this ship here is owned by the Grand Hierophants. And so if I want to set RDMS for this ship, I need to come over to the Grand Hierophants tab here on the right. Once on this page, there are 2 out of the 4 options here that we want to concern ourselves with. Those are tags and policies. In order to apply the effects of a policy to a construct, like this for instance, we need to be able to tag it. And so first of all, we need to create a tag to which we want to attach a policy. And we're going to create a brand new tag. Let's say I call it Warp Shuttle Handling Rights, so that someone can come and use their handling talents to make my fuel tanks and containers be lighter. I don't really need that for this shuttle, but hey, it could be nice. So I've created the tag. Then, once the tag exists, I need to go over to Policies and create a policy. Let me call it, again, for the sake of clarity, we can call it Warp Shuttle Handling Rights. And here there are several options. You can allow a whole organization. So if I want to, say, use my org, Dionian Directorate, or a DRGN or whoever to have rights, I can set them the entire org, the right holders there, as an option. I can set it to all. Every single player in the game could have those rights. Or let's say I want to ask my friend Kermit to come, and let's say Longboy is going to be helping him. I can add the 2 of them. First, you need to select the player, and then you need to click Add here, and it's added to this window. Next, I need to decide what they want to do. I need to ask them to be able to enter build mode on the construct. I need them to be able to use elements, perhaps, if they want to add, say, Lua scripting or anything along those lines. And I can ask them to, say, edit elements or whatever. So these 3 rights are going to be added to Kermit and Longboy, but this doesn't matter. This just exists in a void. It doesn't get added to anything at all, until I go here to tags and I go down to my Warp Shuttle Handling Rights. So the tag we created earlier has been added here. These are the rights we want them to have, and you can go through and check all of these rights here to see what you want to add and not add. And then here are the actors that it's being added to. I can set a description here for myself if I forget why I made this, to remind myself at a later date. Save policy. Now that the policy exists, I need to be able to add it to something. And the easiest way is to right click, construct, advanced, set construct rights. Not elements, construct. I go down here, warp shuttle handling rights, add, and I save and close. I then come here, again to construct, advanced, refresh construct rights, and they should now both be able to, Longboy and Kermit, they should both be able to enter build mode, use elements and edit elements on this shuttle. There are such things as default tags, for instance. I like to instead do things individually, element per element, so I can keep a very tight control. And so here, I know that this is owned by Shamsi personally, this chair, and I have something called public use element rights, which is a policy, and that policy allows every person in the game to be able to use any element that is tagged with a tag called public sit rights. The policy is called public use element rights. So first I went and created a tag called public sit rights over here. Remember, this doesn't do anything. You just create it to be able to apply the tag to anything. But once it's attached to a policy, so I've got public use element rights here, anyone can sit on any item that is tagged with public sit rights. So here on this chair, advanced set element rights, here are public sit rights. I don't have that set up on our open plan bathroom upstairs, so I will go and demonstrate quickly with that. Right click, advanced set element rights, and it's called public sit rights. There we go. Add, save and close. Now, when I refresh, anyone should be able to sit on that bathroom. So what are some practical applications for this? Let's take this surrogate pod here, and I'm going to remove it. For the sake of demonstration now, let's go and show you the public VR network. So the orangery of the gods is no longer there. So let's go set it back up. Right, the pod is down. I hit F7. I know that the personal owner of this is Shamsi, not my inter-account org. So I come to the Shamsi tab at the top. Now I've already deleted all the prior things that I had. So the first thing I want to do is create a tag called Orangery of the Gods, because that's going to be the name of the VR tag. You can name it whatever you want. And then F7, Shamsi, policies, create a policy. I want the policy to allow every player in the game to have the right to connect to Surrogate Pod Station to anything tagged with Orangery of the Gods. That's the latest one that I made. Those were the old ones that I don't want right now. Add, name it connection rights for or Orangery connection, and then in the description I can add connection rights for the Orangery VR pod. Save policy. Now, if I go down to my policies, Orangery connection rights for the Orangery VR pod. Every player connected Surrogate Pod Station, anything tagged with Orangery of the Gods. First thing, down to advanced, set element rights, not construct rights, because that would set anything for the entirety of this structure that I'm standing on. So down to advanced, set element rights, so that it only targets the element I'm clicking on, and then Orangery of the Gods. That's the tag that I'd saved on the policy. Save and close. Next, I right click, set location name, Orangery of the Gods, right click, activate, and now everyone should be able to connect to that VR pod. Another application for this is dispensers. If you want to sell something through a dispenser to another player, for instance, if you want to come and join our Grand Bazaar of the East Alioth Trading Company, you need to be able to set rights for your dispensers. So I can see that again, the personal owner of this is Shamsi. Now I have got a policy already here called donation dispenser. I'm not going to go through every step again to show you. I've already done it now. But first you would create a tag. I call the tag donation dispenser. And I also call the policy the same thing. And the description here, donation dispenser, 3 times. It allows every player to use element on the dispensers tagged with donation dispenser. And then I come here to element, advanced, set element rights. Donation dispenser is tagged. So you would first create the tag, then create the policy and apply that policy to the tag here on this window to the right. And then you would set element rights down in the advanced tab and apply that tag to the dispenser. Remember, the policy is attached to the tag and the tag is then attached to each individual element unless it's using a default tag. So there's 2 applications, one for a VR pod, and again, just to prove that it's working, RNG of the gods. Here it is, available. Well, this character would have rights to connect to it anyway, but it will be connected via the public network to any player in the game. And so you can do that with any element you like in the game. So for instance, in my command toilet here for my industry nerve center, I have set it so that any player can come and sit on this chair below Kermit's bonsai plant there. So advanced, set element rights. I've got something called use element rights, which I can tag any element I want in the game to let people use them without the need for me to share the element or anything like that. So for instance, if you're ever riding with me in the Black Pyramid of Ha'ul and you want to come and sit on one of these, oh, the screens are bugged, that's okay. You want to come and sit on any of these chairs, you can, because I have allowed the public to use them by putting the tag use element rights on the element, and that tag, again to confirm, is attached to this policy, public use element rights, which allows any player to use an element that I've tagged with a tag called use element rights. So I hope you found that helpful, and perhaps it was about as clear as mud, but if you have any questions, do please come on over to the Discord. That's in the description below. Do come on over to the streams or ask your questions here in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. I do also have a quick postscript to this video. Vazrik, a friend of our channel here, is launching his BSC, Black Sun Corporation block warehouse again, following the industry changes. They are launching in a party to announce that they are back up and running. That's running over the 31st of December and the 1st of January. And they have a small core building competition, all sorts of other fun things. If you'd like to know more about it, do contact Vazrik on Discord. You can find his contact details there. If you have found this video useful and want to see more like it, do please consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell icon to be notified whenever I put content out live. Otherwise, thank you all for watching. Until the next time, that's all from me. Bye for now.